Volodymyr Zelenskyy, the president of Ukraine, may have given a clearer picture on how some companies are apparently aiding and making more money from the ongoing war in his country Ukraine, saying, since the start of the war 4 years ago, some unnamed companies in the United States, US, United Kingdom, UK, China, Germany, Taiwan, Switzerland, Japan, Korea Republic, Netherlands are producing components Russia under President Vladimir Putin is using to produce weapons of mass destruction to kill his people. This, Zelenskyy in his own words said on Monday that, in the 4th year of the full-scale war, Russia continues to obtain components for producing weapons. During the massive combined strike on Ukraine on the night of October 5th, Russia used 549 weapon systems containing 102,785 foreign-made components from companies in the United States, China and Taiwan, the United Kingdom, Germany, Switzerland, Japan, the Republic of Korea, and the Netherlands. Nearly 100,688 of foreign-made parts were in the launched attack drones, about 1,500 were in Iskanders, 192 in Kinzhal missiles, and 405 in Kalibrs. Zelenskyy stated this in a statement made available through his personal social media profile on Monday, after about 30 people were injured as a result of the Russian attack on a moving passenger train, killing one person in Shostka district of Ukraine on Saturday. According to Zelenskyy, Ukraine is preparing new sanctions against those who help Russia and its war, and we have communicated proposals to curb the supply schemes. Partners already possess the detailed data on each company and each product. They know what to target and how to respond. This week, the G7 sanctions coordinators will meet, and we expect a systemic decision to ensure that the sanctions are truly effective. It is crucial to shut down every scheme that circumvents sanctions, because Russia uses each one to keep killing. The world has the power to stop this. In the 4th year of the full-scale war, Russia continues to obtain components for producing weapons. During the massive combined strike on Ukraine on the night of October 5th, Russia used 549 weapon systems containing 102,785 foreign-made components from companies in the United States, China and Taiwan, the United Kingdom, Germany, Switzerland, Japan, the Republic of Korea, and the Netherlands. Nearly 100,688 of foreign-made parts were in the launched attack drones, about 1,500 were in Iskanders, 192 in Kinzhal missiles, and 405 in Kalibrs. In particular, companies in the United States manufacture converters for Kh-101 missiles and Shard-Geran-type drones, sensors for those UAVs and for Kinzhal missiles, analog to digital converters for drones and missiles, and microelectronics for missiles. At least 50 different microelectronic components in each Shard are produced in China and Taiwan. Microcontrollers for UAVs are made in Switzerland, while microcomputers for drone flight control are produced in the United Kingdom. Opto-isolators for cruise missiles come from Japan, switching connectors from Germany. Russia also uses processors manufactured in the Netherlands and servomotors and bearings made in the Republic of Korea. In a separate statement, Zelenskyy said, since the start of the full-scale invasion, the capacity of Ukraine's defense industry has increased by tenfold. Our production potential for drones and missiles alone will reach $35 billion next year. Already over 40% of the weapons in use at the front are either made in Ukraine or produced with Ukraine. And the share of our weapons will only grow. The task for manufacturers, for the government of Ukraine, for all institutions involved is that by the end of the year no less than 50% of the weapons at the front must be our Ukrainian weapons, and this task must be accomplished. We need funding to unleash our full potential, and we are working with every partner who can help make this possible. It is time to start exporting our Ukrainian weapons, those types we have in surplus and can therefore export, to finance the types of weapons that are especially needed for our defense. I have already instructed the government, the office, and the Secretary of the National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine to develop and present the key elements of such an export system. The working title of this program is Zbroya, Our Export Product. Agreements are already in place to launch export-import platforms in Europe, the United States, and the Middle East. The task is to have these platforms operational by the end of the year. I said this during the International Defense Industries Forum, which we are opening for the third time in Ukraine today. On the recent attack in Shostka area of Ukraine, Zelenskyy said, Russia ignores or rebuffs literally every opportunity to end the war and guarantee security. Putin wants to wage it, and do it by terrorist, despicable methods. Russia must feel the consequences. Europe, America, the G7, and the G20 have the power to deal with any terrorist. A savage Russian drone strike on the railway station in Shostka, Sumy region. All emergency services are already on the scene and have begun helping people. All information about the injured is being established. So far, we know of at least 30 victims. Preliminary reports indicate that both Uktsaliznyj staff and passengers were at the site of the strike. The Russians could not have been unaware that they were striking civilians. And this is terror the world must not ignore. Every day Russia takes people's lives. And only strength can make them stop. We've heard resolute statements from Europe and America, and it's high time to turn them all into reality, together with everyone who refuses to accept murder and terror as normal. Lip service is not enough now. Strong action is needed. Andriy Sybiha, Ukraine Minister of Foreign Affairs, also said that the attacks were targeted and deliberate Russian drone strikes on passenger trains in Shostka, Sumy region. Not one, but two strikes one after another. This is one of the most barbaric Russian tactics, the so-called double tap, with the second attack hitting rescuers and people who are evacuating. Russian terrorists must get strong responses for this deliberate and brutal terror against civilians. Words are not enough. New devastating sanctions. New strengthening for Ukraine. This can be done and must be done to raise the cost of this war for Russia. Putin must feel the danger of continuing this war personally for him and his regime. Jan Lipavsky, Czech Minister of Foreign Affairs, while reacting to the attack in the Shostka community, said, While we are voting on Czechia's security, Russia keeps showing the world its true face. The attack on the train running from Shostka to Kyiv is yet another proof of its barbarity and state terrorism orchestrated by the Kremlin. My thoughts are with all those injured and their loved ones. But, Viktor Viktop, a commentator, in his analysis, said that Zelenskyy claimed that Russia allegedly targeted a passenger train at the Shostka railway station. There is video of the strike, but upon closer inspection, there was no mention of any passengers. The footage shows the strike hitting a diesel locomotive and a freight train loaded with containers immediately behind it, video 1. It looks like a typical military train. There are no pure passenger trains. Yes, one car looks similar, but the rest of the train is filled with containers, photo 1. Most likely, this single passenger train was used to protect the cargo, a common practice when military transport is disguised as civilian. Now let's look at the schedule. No passenger trains departed from Shostka today. The last train was on October 3rd, and the next one won't be until the 5th. So it's logical to assume that there simply couldn't have been any peaceful passengers there. The free movement of military cargo across Ukraine has ended. Russia has finally started doing what it's supposed to do.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.